First, let me say that I acknowledge that we are on the traditional unceded territory of the Coast Salish First Nations, the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh, and we're pleased to be here. I'm so pleased, actually, to be here with Grand Chief Stuart Phillip and my old friend Sharon Gill. We've been through a lot of struggles. I know Sharon from his work with the farm workers, temporary workers, and he's done a marvelous job with PICS. With Grand Chief Stuart Phillip, it's amazing where I run into him. I ran into him up at the Tar Sands Healing Walk in Fort McMurray. And then shortly after that, I ran into him at an Idle No More rally, the J28th rally at City Hall. And so we are a group of people which have a lot of connections, and we are going to make those connections, and we're hoping that you understand how historic today really is. Today is a historic day because now you have Indigenous peoples, leaders of Indigenous people, a leader of our South Asian Canadian community, and I would like to think that I'm at least a leader on the redress for head tax and exclusion. So we have our community called the Lo-Wa-Kil, and that's part of what I want to talk about, the Lo-Wa-Kil, pioneer Chinese families. Because in the haste, I think the British Columbia government to release an ethnic strategy kind of is arrogant and dismissive. It assumes that we vote as blocks. It assumes we don't really care about politics. My whole life in Canada has been about human rights and social justice. I've spent almost 30 years on the head tax exclusion redress. I've worked with First Nations people, I've worked with South Asians, I've worked with Muslims, I work with all communities. Yet, in a very strange way, the hardest community that I have had to work with has been the Chinese Canadian community. And that is because there are many sectors of it. There's the Lo-Wa-Kil, those that were here for the gold mine. Our family came here during the 1849 California gold rush. And yet it is my children, after 150 years of our families being here, that were the first in our line to be born in Canada in the 70s. In the 70s, that's 120 years after our family got here. That tells you what racism, that tells you what discrimination, that tells you what family separation does. And when we talk about the issues in our community, we are talking about Lo-Wa-Kil, pioneer Chinese issues. And the government says it's a historical injustice. This is the arrogance and dismissiveness. That it's a historical justice. I can trot out hundreds of elderly Chinese seniors who were affected by the exclusion legislation. Yet the Harper government dismissed the exclusion legislation. The BC government in its ethnic strategy has never consulted with us about what we should do except for short meetings attempting to get photo ops. So I just want to tell you how historic this moment is, because I brought you something about the history of the Chinese Canadian community. It's very diversified. There's the pioneer families, and then there's unification families, and then there are the economic refugees that came in with the return of Hong Kong. There are the group that were coming here because of Tiananmen Square, and then there's the group that is coming here now, essentially citizens of convenience, they might be said. We need to see what they're going to contribute, but there is no doubt what the Lo-Wa-Kil, the old overseas Chinese families contributed here. We built the foundation for all other Chinese communities here. And I want the BC government, whether it be BC Liberal, whether it be BC NDP or BC Green, to recognize the issue is justice. The issue is justice, not vote pandering, not photo ops. The issue is do something with action. Don't say sorry and do nothing. Because sorry means a number of things. Sorry means that you admit wrongdoing. Sorry for you should be redemptive. Sorry for our family should be restorative justice. And we are all here, our communities have faced this, and I want the BC government, whether it be NDP, Green, or Liberal, to understand the issue is justice, not vote pandering, not photo ops. And thank you for being here at this historic moment where South Asian Canadians, Chinese Canadians, can work and support all the communities, and particularly the Indigenous community, because I want to say that no matter what my community has suffered, it pales to the 500 years of colonization that our Indigenous brothers and sisters are dealing with still today. So thank you, Grand Chief, and thank you, Charan, for the pleasure of being here with you. I consider this a very, very historic day. Thank you very much.